sanitise, everyone keep COVID safe. I'm sure we're all 1.5 away from each other.
Absolutely. We're outside, we don't have to do things.
Yeah. I'm not taking my sunnies off for this either. I think it looks cool. We're all ready to rip and tear? Wait, can everyone just say something on the mic?
Hello.
Hello.
All right, I can hear everyone. Actually, I'm just going to have a quick sip of my oat.
We're onto the oat lattes at the moment.
I've heard good things about oat milk.
Yeah. I'm normally an almond latte gal, but
I can't do almond.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't
too
like
sweet
it
for
like
me.
in
Almond
like-
tastes too burnt in coffees.
I don't. Oh, really? See, I don't like it in cereal and stuff, but in like a latte, I think it's like nice and creamy.
I don't know if you've
Sweet
noticed,
gal.
but I've pressed record. So.
That's good.
That's good.
Welcome back, guys, to our Sunday session edition of Fun, Fresh and Footy with Pete and Ash. Today we are joined by Melanie Howard. That's how she introduced herself as she walked through my front gate. So I'm not sure. Are we going by Mel, Howie, Melanie?
Good for a Howie, but look, I'll answer to anything.
I've put Howie Podcast as the title,
Love
so
it. I'll roll with that.
we will rip into that. All right, before we rip into it, let's rip into that intro. Welcome to Fun, Fresh and Footy with Pete and Ash. You'll love this. All right. Well, welcome to our new recording studio. I don't know of any of our YouTube subscribers. Actually, let's quickly just touch on that before we go. Please subscribe on our YouTube page because you'll notice this bad boy. We've got a whole different setup.
Yeah, it's actually like quite nice out here. We're outside, bit of sunshine.
Outside. I've got my glasses on because I can't see a thing. I think it's about, 7 degrees?
It's fresh.
It's fresh. But what do we call this podcast? Fun, Fresh and Footy. Fun, fresh and sitting outside and recording. All right. So today we've got Mel Howard of NRLW fame, of dropping me on my head in my first game of rugby fame as well. So
Great tackle.
It was a great tackle, and we will touch on that.
I get a cheese for that.
You certainly did. You certainly did. We'll definitely delve into that. I completely forgot all about that, to be honest. That's probably why I'm fucking stupid and don't remember anything. We'll quickly go over your background. Obviously, you've dabbled between lots of different codes. Bit of a rugby. I won't say the word, but anyway, this is a fun family podcast. I do put that this is family appropriate every time I upload.
I'll watch my F-bombs.
No, well, we won't. We won't, so don't worry. Sorry, also, I just said to Peter, last night we were at rugby training, and the ratio of, you know when you're like training hard and then you'll stop and have a yarn and like you're hot so you take your jacket off and then you sit there and yarn and you're like, God, I'm cold. I'm like, my ratio to jacket on and off last night, like, yeah.
It was hard, and like I was like sweating it out, and I finally decided to take my jumper off, and then we stopped and talked for like 20 minutes.
And I'm like,
you
great,
can
is
never
that why
pick it.
I've got,
I was
like, why I've
worst
got a sore
time.
throat? I had to fucking have a Barocca before I rolled out of bed this morning. So there are Baroccas there for anyone else that's feeling a little bit low on vitamins and minerals. Barocca, reach out.
I feel like it is long arm skin season at the moment for those awkward in between moments. I'm not sponsored by Skins. That was a good plug there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Skins want to reach out.
The skins can reach out, but I also reckon they look stupid.
I don't know if
See, I'd like it. I just don't own one, so I'm like,
Actually, do you know what? I wanted to get
it's like one of those things I've just never bought.
when I got into running heaps and was doing like fun runs and whatnot, I really wanted to get and triathlons and shit. I really wanted to get those calf skins.
Oh, yeah.
And Katie was like, "Don't you fucking dare get those."
As if you are out here saying that the long arm skins look silly, but you're about to buy calf
just
skins.
drop the calf ones, yeah.
I know.
That's so much worse.
It makes nothing makes sense.
Do you know why I have the long ones? I played rugby in Orange once for country champs, and it snowed.
Yeah.
So my parents went and bought me long skins. It didn't help very much, but
Oh, really?
I was like 21, and so that's why I have them.
Thanks,
like
Mum and Dad.
For
Yeah.
those like
Thank you.
synthetic fields as well. So
Oh,
they get,
yeah,
like,
that rip you
grazed
up. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Mum and Dad. So that's
Yeah,
what's brought them
sure.
on. Well, speaking of Mum and Dad, we'll go back.
Yes.
We'll get your backstory. So where are you from originally?
Lake Memora on the coast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where is
Central
that for people who
Um,
aren't geographically?
Yeah. So like 10 minutes south of Swansea, Near Catherine Hill Bay.
Oh, nice. Love that place.
Literally like the very edge of the coast.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah, so I'm that awkward, not a Newcastle girl, but almost grew
Sort
up in
of
Newey. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's
And
all
did you
right.
go
That's a
to
bit
school
like
down
us.
there?
Yeah, Lake Murray High.
Were you a
Lake Murray
surfer?
Public. No. I definitely tried. Still to this day, I'm rubbish. Not really a water gal. I did nippers and stuff, but I was like, I liked flags because you just got to dive.
Yeah.
I was a rubbish beach sprinter. I think I had not an ounce of muscle in my quads, or any of me really. But yeah, I could never
not much has
really
changed.
surf. Yeah, like I
kidding.
try hard these days, but still not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, coasty.
Coasty. So, when did you start playing footy? So, obviously, you were a touch player from back in the day. So, when did you start playing touch?
When I was tiny. My dad was like, Northern Lakes Warriors was like our local footy club, and he was like the president of the junior club. So I think I was literally born and went straight to like the footy field when I was a baby. And then
They bring you out.
pretty much
Football.
just like, with the footy, rocked straight over to like watch my dad coach or something.
They don't even worry about asking you to say mum, dad. They're just like yelling, 6 again.
Yeah, literally, it's probably out of the womb.
These ones.
Those ones, yeah.
Capturing her first one of these. Her first goosey.
Yeah, like they were talking about another podcast I listened to. Like, we're sick of all the regular milestones for babies, like walking and talking. It's like, show us the interesting things, like their
100%.
first 6 again.
Yeah.
Let's start that. If people have interesting first baby moments, the one that we listened to about on the Hello Sport, sorry to plug them, but when, what's his name? Tom's daughter discovered her shadow for the first time.
She was like
that
wigging
was
out.
hilarious. So any hilarious shit like that, send it in.
Also, if you've got babies and you want to show us their first 6 again, send it in.
or a goosey, I'm more than happy to, we'll play
Baby
that.
goosey, that'd be.
Baby goosies, we're amongst that. So pretty much you've had a ball in hand.
Out of the womb, yeah.
Out.
They had like a touch footy comp at our junior club, and I would have been real little and played with like my dad and stuff. When you see like the tiny little kids and they just like get handed the footy and run, and people like pretend to miss tags and stuff. Yeah, I was like that kid. Obviously, probably got better at some point. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. But played touch footy forever, and
You obviously progressed and made it up through the grades and got to play.
yeah,
rep
I was never
and-
like a great touch footy player. Like could throw a long ball, but I wasn't like quick enough to sort of go too far in touch footy. But yeah, and I just remember my brother and I would be in the backyard every arvo, throwing a ball, kicking a ball.
That's like my childhood. I just always remember
Yeah.
kicking a ball in the street with my brother and the kid
Yeah.
across the road. And
Yeah, we were pretty lucky. We had a big yard.
were you were your family very like football orientated? Like, did they like watching league or union as well?
Yeah, big league family.
And who were they supporters of?
Newcastle, I believe.
Okay,
Well,
that makes sense.
I think Mum might have went for someone else at some point, but yeah, I think Dad was always a Knights fan.
So
since
you're
I was
always
alive.
around rugby league.
Yeah, and I think my brother played sort of from when he could at like 5 or whatever boys start playing. And I remember I was doing dancing and like, yeah, I know. So like,
I think we've all
full
been
ballet,
through
like,
that.
yeah.
Did you dance?
Yeah, I think everyone had their little
Yeah.
dance.
I
fucking hate it.
I was rubbish at that.
My
Yeah.
my mum will sit here and tell you that I used to cry every time I had to go. I hated it so much.
I remember crying having to go on stage. Yeah.
Oh, put me on stage now. I'd be fine.
Oh, yes. Quick shot, so yeah. But yeah, randomly was like, I want to play. And I'm 18 months older than my brother, and so I think they were all playing a year up because it was like under 7s or whatever, and they were whatever.
And what
age, I
club
don't
was
even
this
know.
for, sorry?
Northern Lakes Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I just started playing, and then I was just killing it.
And you were playing with obviously with the boys?
With all the boys, yeah. I was the
Did
only
they have
girl.
so what's this, under 8? So did they have
like
position?
No, it was
I was
like
going to say, because my little nephews, they've just started playing for, shout out to the Singleton Wed Dogs.
Hey.
But yeah, they're under 8s and they're fucking hilarious to watch.
I think they
But
like
they had like a
They have a dummy half.
half, first receiver and stuff like that. Just to get the foundations and the fundamentals and stuff.
I think eventually I kind of went into the first receiver role.
Yep. Oh, that's where the playmaker.
Little halfback, yeah. But back in the day, I think they just were like catch pass. And then everyone, I was just tiny forever. Still am. But everyone grew and like I just didn't. So I kept getting hurt. And then I remember when it went to like mod, they wanted me to go in like the ones team. And my parents just wouldn't let me. And I was so mad because I was like, no, like.
How old are you at this stage?
I don't even know what age they go to. Maybe like 11s or something when they go to mod. And my parents just wouldn't let me, and I was so off it because they
Imagine some of those big butt, like man childs running at your butt.
Yeah. I would have died.
A rake.
But I was just off it because they had like full positions and like was structured and like just knew what they were doing. And I was in like Div 2 and we were like catch pass, like run and try and score. Like I was heaps off it. But yeah, I think that I had to stop playing because I was just too tiny.
Was there many other girls playing around the time you played, or you were the only one?
I was the only one, I think, at my club for a while, and there was like a couple of random other girls for other clubs. Yeah.
Speaking just on that, and circling back to watching my nephews play the other week, it was actually great to see, and like they're under 6s and under 8s. It was actually great to see so many young girls playing, like in their comp, and I don't know what they are, Group 21 or whatever. But even like the rugby sevens programs and stuff that they've put in, like the amount of interest, like for women now, because it's become so popular. And then obviously once the Olympics kick off, Tokyo, and the rugby sevens is back on, I reckon that'll fly again. Because I think that's what kicked it off initially in the first place. So you played touch. Did you ever get to play any representative touch or?
I would have played for I played Sydney North in year 6 at whatever comp that is, and then a bit of like Hunter. It was weird. My primary school and high school were next door to each other, but one was. Sorry. You're good. One was Sydney North, one was Hunter. So I played Sydney North in year 6, and then like in high school, I played a few years in like the Hunter touch team.
Yep.
And then I was playing hockey as well. Just random. But
hockey's actually fun as.
Oh, it's so fun.
I played that at school sport. Yeah. It was good fun.
I'd love to go back and have a game.
It's pretty like hard on the fitness, hey?
Yeah.
There's so much running in it.
Heaps of running.
But it looks like fun.
So hockey obviously never equated to anything.
I was half decent at it. I think I was in like the 21s like state squad, like not the proper team, but I made like a squad or something. And then I think at that point I'd started rugby union. And
was that because you went to uni and then like through O Week or whatever, or were you playing prior to going to university?
Yeah, I played rugby at school. We had a
I feel like everyone gets their first taste at
100%. So we had a rugby coach, and I would have played.
Sorry, what school were you at?
Lake Memorial High. Yeah.
You went through this.
You're the reason I had this concussion. This short-term memory loss.
But yeah, two of our PE teachers were rugby players, so we made a rugby team, and we came like second in the state in under 15s or something wild. But then I finished school, didn't play for a year, and then Amy Broadhead, I think her partner at the time was playing hockey against me, and she was like, "Oh, come play rugby for Merriweather, blah blah." I was like, "Oh yeah, I might come play next year," and then somehow there was a link between one of the Hemo girls I played like New South Wales rugby with in high school. So I ended up going and my boyfriend played for Hamilton. So I ended up playing for the Hawks.
Yeah, right.
Hawks?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's who you debuted for rugby union
first
for?
Rugby, New Club. And then I think we folded, and then that's how I went to uni a couple of years later.
Yeah, so what year was that? You were playing for a very long time.
I would have been maybe 19 in my first year.
Yeah, that's still pretty young.
Because I finished high school at 17. Yeah, had a year of no rugby. Yeah, that might be right.
Yeah, right. And how old are you now?
28.
Yeah, right. So it's been a fair while now. And so you went to uni then, and were you playing at uni for a fair while?
I played a few seasons for uni, maybe 3 or 4. And then...
This is where we digress into where my rugby career started, and I remember you played 10. Actually, do you know what? I remember another funny story. We versed you guys in Singleton for some reason.
Yes.
Actually, you hurt yourself that day.
Yeah, I hurt my neck.
You hurt your neck and got carried off.
Yeah.
That's not the story. But I had to play. I felt like I had like the worst chest infection ever. Like I could hardly breathe, but I was asked to play 9. And you were playing 9 as well. And I was like at the scrum. And I remember just saying to Patty, I'm like, I don't even know like what to do at the scrum. And she goes, just tap the hooker and then just roll it to her feet. And that's all they're going to do because I don't think he's contested. And I'm like, I looked at you and I'm like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And you like talked me through how to roll the ball.
I remember that. That's so funny.
And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to snap your neck.
No
now.
one taught. It's funny because I started as a 9 or kind of like a 9-10, but more, I thought I was a 9. And then obviously eventually I played 10. But no one ever taught me how to roll the ball into a scrum. So
no. I was just literally
you
told
just
that
get thrown in
day.
the deep end, hey?
Yeah. It's definitely like not anything that they go through. It's just kind of like, see how it goes.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's also like pretty hit and miss. Like you either just like,
Yeah.
it works or it doesn't.
But then
Like,
you know the other thing, shout out Alana Patterson, the other thing that she said, now this was from another, oh, well, maybe she didn't tell me that, but she did tell me another time I was playing 9 under her coaching abilities. She said, all you've got to do is when you go to the scrum and it's the other team's feet, just get in their ear and make sure you go, I hope you can throw it straight.
Yeah.
So I did that to Maitland and I did it to someone else. And then by the time it was time to verse Pete, who I didn't actually know at the time, I was like, I can't wait to say it to this little blonde bitch. And I got put in some other position. So. But another story is, yes, in a 10s game, you absolutely picked me up and dropped me into the ground. Like, I'm not kidding. It was like, boom, boom. I like laid on the ground and opened my eyes. And you and Talia Goldsmith were standing over me and Tar goes, are you dead? And then, yeah, you got sent off.
Yeah. I thought it was a great tackle.
It was a brilliant tackle. It was so good.
I was shook at myself for doing it. But you ran straight at me and I was
Bro, it was my first game at 10.
I was a bit, because, I don't know, no one ever runs at the 10 straight unless you're a huge front row or something. So I think I was a bit shocked that you ran at me. And I remember I was like, what the fuck's happening? And then a bit of a late dip.
In my defence, that was my second season, first game at 10, and to my defence, to this day, I still don't know what I'm doing.
You just make it up.
Hence why I'm a fullback now.
I love that.
All right, so you played rugby for uni. Far out. CTE over here. So you played a couple of comps with them. How many comps did you win with them? You're in pretty much the grand final every year.
No, I don't think I've ever won a rugby grand final. They were winning and then I joined them. And then they started. Like
Bad luck
a few
charm.
people sort of left.
Wait, where did you? Because did you come from Sydney? Did you come from Sydney playing or something? Or
No.
oh my goodness, I don't know who I'm thinking of then.
I did play a season in Sydney.
So that's what I just
Who'd
said.
you play there?
Yes.
Who'd
I
you play for
played
there?
for Rats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You played for Rats, then you
did.
came to uni.
No, Rats. It might have been an in between. Uni. I played a season for Rats. Came back to. I missed the year uni won. That's
the reason you went to
So
that.
that was the year where Paddy scored because they
Yeah.
threw it out and got the
the old
penalty.
sideline. Yeah. So I didn't play that year.
That was my first year. Yeah, that was my first year of rugby, and then 2000 and whatever was the year you came back and smashed, and that's when Greens actually won it that year.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the year before we'd made grand final, maybe lost to Wanderers or someone. Then I left and they beat Merewether, and then I came back and we played Merewether in like tornado conditions, and
I can't remember.
Amy
I was
Broadhead shredded us
yeah.
to bits. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
right.
remember. I was so drunk that day.
And so obviously, you know, you were pretty good at rugby union. What sort of levels did you make it to playing there? Like, I imagine you would have played like country, everything.
Yeah, I played a bit of country, a few, maybe 2 or 3 years of country. But yeah, I was never outstanding at rugby. Like I was, again, just okay.
I feel like making country level, but is
but
cutting yourself
like,
a bit short.
As in, I think I'm much better suited to league, and like I'm not an amazing league player, but what I do I'm
You prefer
good at,
yeah.
and I'm probably more suited. Yeah.
So what? Obviously, we. This happens a lot. So obviously, like I'm the same. I've grown up loving rugby league. I never played rugby league as a wee one, but watched all my brothers and cousins played. Have loved watching football. Come from a big football family. But obviously, when I came in to play rugby, that's because that was the only contact sport, women's sport, that was going, because I wasn't obviously 12 at the time.
Yeah.
When did you decide to make the switch to NRL? Oh, sorry, rugby league, I should say. Was it after the nines comp that got?
No, I didn't play in that.
Yep.
But no, I think Mick Young was coaching, and when the Knights had that nines team, and he'd called me and said, "Do you want to play?" sort of thing.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, I think I must have been playing country that year," and I was like, "Oh, nah, like I can't really commit to it." And then, I think I just had a rubbish year and was a bit over rugby. And then I was like, "Oh, I might just give league a go." I don't know.
Yeah, give it a crack.
And CRL Newcastle must have been starting up that team for the Sydney comp, and so I was just like, "Oh, I might give it a go." And obviously, Mick Young and Beck Young, Mick was coaching, and Beck was playing, and I'd played a random year for Maitland, maybe when I was 19 or 20 with them.
Like the Pickers girls.
Yeah. So
Was that tackle or tag?
yeah, tackle.
Yeah.
I forgot about that actually. So I must have played rugby union and league, and just been doing both that year.
Yeah. Right.
And then I was like,
That's so bizarre that like Maitland and all down there were playing tackle way before like
Yeah,
the
everyone
South, the
else. Yeah,
Souths and
literally.
West girls were. Like I couldn't believe.
yeah, I think we were just like randomly playing Sydney teams, and
Yeah, you would have been, because I knew a couple of the girls that played
yeah,
in the Ants comp.
yeah. So yeah, very early days.
So when
she like Beck Young played out at Maitland as well.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of what drew
Yeah.
you to play with.
Yeah,
them.
so at that time, I think they kind of had started the Maitland, like the Youngs, and a few other people. And Margaret Watson, who was playing uni rugby with me,
Yep.
I think she must have played a year, and she was like, "Yeah, come play." And so I went and played, and I was like, "Yeah, little 19-year-old, didn't talk to anyone." I was already getting yelled at for not speaking enough as a 10 in union, and then they threw me in at like in the halves at Maitland in league.
And that's where you've got to be the loudest person.
Beck Young, if I didn't call the set straight away, she would rip shreds off me. Like, what the fuck
And that
were you
builds
on, Howie?
character,
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
it?
I was scared shitless of her, man. I was like,
Good, you should be scared.
oh, yeah. She
I wish
petrified
people
me.
were scared of us when we yelled at them.
But, yeah, like, she made me, like, the halfback that I am, because if you didn't call the set or tell everyone what you're doing, you get your head
It is,
ripped
because
off.
it's such a dominant position.
Yeah.
And if you want to get to a certain position on the field, obviously your whole team needs to be listening and tuning in and kind of taking what you're saying as the gospel. Like, I want you to get to that position, so then we can do this, then that, then that.
And it's like nothing worse than like no direction from your
yeah.
halves or whatever. Like
Yeah.
So yeah, well that's good. So obviously so she's built your character, and then she's the reason you've come to Newcastle. She was playing for the Knights team, which is in that Sydney comp.
Yeah.
And how did you go the season you played with them?
I think that first year we did okay. They'd played for like Central, or as a Blue Bag Central? I don't know. Yeah,
Central Charlestown or
the year
whatever.
before they'd played and they'd made the grand final. So Caitlin Moran, Simone Smith.
They had a good team, because Katie was almost going to go and play league tag with them.
So a few of those, they made the grand final, didn't win, and then a few of them sort of left to do whatever, and then so we must have.
But you still had an alright team, because that was the same year like Naomi got picked.
Yeah.
Ash Harvey.
Yeah.
This was just from when we were playing Ant, so this was the first year that they did this.
And
team.
Amy Broadhead was in that one as well, or
Yeah.
someone? Yeah.
Yeah,
She must have left Union by this
I think
stage
so.
as well.
Yeah, so I think we made maybe semis that year, and then the year after, Stoney coached us, who used to coach the Knights.
Yeah. What was that like?
So good. Yeah.
Just the professionalism from...
Just sort of a different level, I guess. Like Mick Young, great coach, don't get me wrong. just very different coaches.
Yeah.
And as a halfback, he kind of broke things down a lot for me. And just sort of, we just had like a simple game plan. Everyone sort of knew their role. And we ended up winning that year. That must have been our first year we won.
Yeah, right.
And then, they moved Sarah Newcastle, then became Central Coast Roosters, which we are now.
So when did you join obviously, well, tell us your story about how you got picked in the NRLW then.
Yeah, so would have been...
Give us years too, because I'm getting lost on timelines.
What are we
This
now?
isn't that long ago. I was here. I was around for these
I know,
years.
but I'm getting lost on the timeline.
2021. NRLW must have kicked off year 4. It's this year.
This is year 4.
Yeah, so what's that?
So 2018 first year?
Must have been, yeah.
It must have been because 2017 was the first year they did the Nines comp and
Yes.
it blew up.
Yep.
And then that Newcastle team, and then they were like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, let's go, girls.
Yeah.
Shania Twain,
So,
play that. Boom.
2018, it was my first year of like full-time league, like not doing anything else.
Yep.
I remember early in the season I hurt my knee, and then they had like a like a country team, and they broke it up into North and South, and it was like a country trial, so similar to what they do for rugby union, but they just have it as like 2 teams versing each other, and Mick Young was coaching that, and he'd picked me on the bench, but then I'd hurt my knee, so they didn't actually name me. And then I think Caitlin Moran was halfback, and she pulled out or something.
What's Caitlin doing now? She was a gun.
Yeah, she's up in Queensland. I think she's playing local footy.
Yeah. She was with the Broncos for ages and then did her knee.
Yeah, so I don't think she's played NRL because
Since
she
then?
went to do it. I went to play, did her knee, and like has never actually played a game yet.
She was a fucking gun. She played for the Greens my very first season as fullback, and holy shit, she was fast. Holy dooly.
Yeah, very like good natural talent.
Yeah. Continue.
All good. So Caitlin pulled out, and Beck Young rang me and was like, "How you going, sis? How's your knee?" sort of thing. I was like, "Oh, yeah, like I'm good to go."
What had you done to your knee?
Just like a low grade MCL.
Yeah.
Missed
Beauty.
a couple of weeks of weekend footy, and then so I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm pretty good to play." I wasn't 100%, but like good enough to play. And then
I'll
they
give it a crack. Strap it up.
exactly, put me in at halfback. We played okay, and then I got picked in the country team, and they do like it's a bit different now, but a nationals, which is kind of like a trial for the origin team. So it's like city country and then Queensland city country, and they have like the Defence Force team, similar to what we do in rugby, I think. And then from that they pick like the origin teams, and they had a few of the like NRLW coaches sort of scouting there, but I never really thought anything of it. Like,
You just thought, go along, play.
I'm just going on playing
with my knee strapped.
We ended up winning. I think Semi Bremner played 6, so she's obviously very good running fullback. So, I was just kind of like the general, and she would just do her thing and score tries. And we beat City in the final, which was sick. We didn't I didn't think we were going to win, but
I feel like City's normally always so dominant in things. So it's good when country gets a win.
Yeah, 100%. I never really thought much of it, and then I just got a call from the Dragons coach a few weeks later.
And who was that coach at the time?
Daniel Lacey.
Yep.
So he was looking for like a 14 or like backup half kind of hooker. I was like, oh, yep, sure. And then, sent me through a contract and went and played for them. I think I started my first game. He swapped me to 6 against the Broncos at Suncorp. Got flogged.
Broncos are so strong.
They compared to the boys, they are just like the powerhouse of that comp.
They really are. And
well, that's the thing. They get like all of the Queensland talent, really, because there's like.
But where is the men? They send us all the
I know,
Queensland talent. They send us.
No, you know what I mean? Like
everywhere.
they can like pick whoever they want from anywhere, because men will move because their wage is big enough to move your whole life. Whereas if the women's wage isn't big enough for them to be like, oh yeah, I'll move a state just to play for this other team. Kind of thing.
Not many people turn their whole life upside down sort of thing for the 8 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the men, like the Storm and like there's a couple of clubs that have feeder clubs in Queensland.
Yeah,
so they take a lot of their players. Yeah. So,
so how many seasons did you play for St George? Or how did you go that year?
We won 1 game against the Warriors. Yeah.
One game's better than none.
Yeah.
A win's a win.
Was that at the stage where you only played the
4 games?
Yeah.
4 games?
Well, it's 3 games. Then like the grand final, Yeah.
Who
So,
played in the
so
grand
one out of 3 is actually like, it sounds like you didn't win many, but 1 out of 3 is actually
okay.
like a pretty good ratio.
Winning percent.
Yeah.
Congratulations, actually.
Thanks. I mean, I think to this day that's still the only game I've won. So I don't know what my winning percentage would be now.
We can look it up if you want.
It'd be horrible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only game I've won. But yeah, we beat Warriors and then Brisbane won that year. I think the Warriors beat Brisbane that year.
Were they in the grand final? It was Warriors Brisbane that year?
I think it might have been Roosters.
Yeah,
Roosters. Yeah, Roosters Brisbane.
I haven't done any
research.
research
And it was such a weird because they just take 1 and 2, so it's like if someone beats someone and then they lose and then like and it was kind of worked out. We beat Warriors beat Broncos, Roosters beat us. Yeah. So it was like all on for and against sort of thing. And it, Roosters versus Broncos. Broncos won. And then, I only played the 1 season for Dragons and then...
Did you score any tries that season?
No. I set up a good try in the Warriors game.
Yeah.
Did a little chip. That was a highlight.
Sorry, I do stand corrected. 34-12 to the Broncos against the Roosters.
Yeah. Got massively stitched up actually when I set that trap. I put a little chip over and the winger caught it and got to the fullback and I'm there on the inside like, like drawing past. She just gassed the fullback and scored. I was like, are you kidding? I was like, what a stitch up. Still to this day, I bring it up with her.
Still mad.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So how many seasons... Was that your only season with St George?
Yeah. Swapped to Roosters. Yeah.
So then you signed with the Roosters in... What year is that? 2019.
Yeah.
What was the difference that you noticed in like club culture or professionalism or whatever going from St George to? Did you notice a massive difference or?
Yeah. With St George, we were kind of very separate to the boys. I think it's a lot better there now.
Really?
Yeah. From what I've seen, a little bit.
Really?
Like we had like a season launch or whatever, and it was just nothing was with the boys. Whereas I think last year they did like a season launch.
They included
with the boys.
Yeah.
So if that's the only progression, I guess they're still moving forward. But
it might be.
So then you came to the Roosters and theirs was a lot more like all the stuff together.
So just like when you walk in, just the receptionist even like saying hello and being super friendly, and you kind of go upstairs and everyone, like all the admin people or whatever, you just walk through and everyone says hello.
That's so bizarre. Like that's exactly what when we interviewed Bobby a couple of weeks ago. She said that the Roosters made you feel like a family.
Yeah. And then like you walk downstairs through the gym, and I was telling this story the other day, like Latrell Mitchell just walked out of the team room with like a whole barbecue chicken, and he's like, "Oh, hey girls," and I was like, oh my God, he's so huge.
He is huge, eh?
He's so huge. God. And I was just kind of like, well, hi.
I would literally be so starstruck.
I seen him at the Kent once, and he was like enormous, and I slapped him on the chest, and I'm like, you're Latrell Mitchell. He was huge.
Yeah.
So imagine him carrying a barbecue chook in front of you, sober.
Full chicken. But yeah, just stuff like that. And I think... that first year I was at Roosters, we had like a combined training session with them.
Wow.
And we just like split into teams and played touch footy.
That would be...
Like with the boys, it was mad.
I wouldn't be able to play, I'd be so...
Teddy, I just remember defending him, and I looked up and he just catches this ball, just straight across the chest, 20-metre cutout to Cooper Cronk, and I was just like... I was like, what the fuck, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I remember...
I'd love to just go and watch them train.
Oh, they're so good, like freaks. I was like, I can't even
Where
touch
do they train? Can you tell us? And we'll go down.
Yeah, it's not that. I don't know if they're still there, but it's just near the...
Are we allowed to say this on air?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to edit it out.
You drive past and see them. It's just near Moore Park.
Yeah. Let's go down one day.
Yeah, I don't know how it'd be with COVID at the moment, but...
We'll get some of those sperm suits from Tomago where we just like, so no, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So, and then that season you obviously played with them. How did you go?
pretty bad. I don't think we won a game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we played... So I started...
What position were you in?
Started 7, yeah. And Stoney coached us. So he coached club footy and then Roosters that year. Started at halfback, and I think we...
Yeah, unfortunately you didn't.
Yeah, we lost the first game. It must have been close with, like, the Warriors or someone.
Warriors 12.
Yeah. So, lost to them, and then he dropped me for the second game.
Well, that's why he's got fucking pounded.
They got pounded by the Broncos. I'd like to think it would have been less. No. And then,
so who did they pull in instead of you? And was it a bit of someone that was always you were like fighting for a position with?
Yeah, so it was me and Kira Dibb, 6'7", and he had Zahara Tamara at lock as kind of like a ball-playing lock. And then he put Z at 7, Simone Smith at 6, or the other way around, whatever. So, and then, but they got beat, and he came back to training and said, sorry, that was a bad decision, like, dropping you. And I was like, oh, wow, no coach has ever admitted that, like, to me.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Like, people can admit that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, thank you. Because, like, obviously, I'm a very, like, give directions and this is what we're doing, and that's kind of what I'm good at. And I think Simone and Z's a lot better now, but I don't know. I think neither of them sort of took charge of the team. So I think Simone must have been 7, and like she's just a good ball runner and like a.
But
freak.
She didn't have that confidence or that voice that you needed on the field. Yeah.
So I think they kind of just missed that, and then the next week, I think Kira and I might have played together again against Dragons, and we had to win to make the grand final.
I did just get rid of it, but
and we lost.
It was close. It was very.
How
close.
was it versing your old team?
It was good. I scored a try, so that was
was
that was
that your
nice.
first NRLW try?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember.
Did you celebrate it in any particular way, or
not really? But I remember I ran. Talk us
Talk us through it. We love this shit.
I'll talk you through it. So we shift to the right. Corbs was fullback at the time. She makes like a mini break, gets tackled. It's the last tackle. I'm out wide as a half, looking at my edge. We've got numbers. Kira Dibb, first receiver, passes to me, and I'm on like the 20, and I'm kind of trotting forward looking what's on, and they all just kind of stood there. And I remember Holly Wheeler was in front of me, and...
She's a scary human.
Yeah. Maybe like... I don't know who their 6 was, but kind of their half and Holly maybe it might have been. And they just kind of stood there, and I was like, didn't know what to do, kind of looking to run and pass, and no one moved, so I just kind of skipped and fell over them and scored.
Oh, beauty. Yeah. Where's the applause button?
Yeah.
I got it right.
But I like to say I ran over Holly Wheeler to score.
Yeah, she's a gun.
Great tackler.
She's an absolute.
I don't know what
beast.
she was doing sitting on the line, but
she's like me in that game, just running straight at you. Maybe she was hoping to do one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she was thinking.
Well, you did lose that game 24-16, so that was, bittersweet that you scored.
I threw an intercept, actually, to Jester, just so you can probably credit me for their win. Also got a head knock in that game.
Well, don't worry. I'm the queen of throwing intercept passes.
Yeah.
So.
I've also done one this season.
Look, there you go.
I mean, was it on national TV?
Bar TV.
It's impressive. No, I remember, like, the few weeks after that, though, that intercept just... You know how, like, they just play highlights over and over on Instagram?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That was
so much just popped up. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never living this down.
That'd be the hardest part of, like, obviously it's so good to be at that level and everything, but, like, anytime there's a mistake or anything, it's like you can just, cop it.
Yeah. And even, like, that game I got dropped as a halfback, that stuff just happens... Not all the time, but, like, if something's gone wrong, it's kind of on you.
It's always on the halfback.
Yeah.
100%.
If the team's not going well, they'll, like, always blame the halfback.
Yeah.
And, like, it's, like, their fault or not.
If you're winning, it's probably because your outside backs are scoring or, like, do you know what I mean? Someone else is doing a good job.
Yeah, it's not you that's, like, making them win, though.
It's not you getting people in the places and, like, whatever. But, obviously, as a halfback, that's just, you cop that.
You do.
Righto, 2020, the... asterisk season, the COVID bubble. How did you go with that? So you're still playing for the Roosters at this stage?
Yep. So...
And you actually made it pardon me, to the grand final. How did you go training-wise? How did you go work-wise? Because I know you're a school teacher as well, so
yeah,
you've still got to travel down and train, check in on that stupid app. And
yeah, it was pretty wild. Had to check in everywhere we were going. And then I was leaving work. My kids finish at 2 and we usually leave 3:30, so I was leaving kind of with the kids out the gate to get to Sydney.
Yep. How many days a week were you training, sorry?
3. Yeah. And then I was kind of in like a casual role at my school, so I wasn't having to go home and like prepare lessons and stuff or like write reports. So I was pretty lucky with that. Yeah. It's just kind of like leave school, play footy, come home, do it again. Mm-hmm. We trained out of like, where was it? Like Leichhardt, I think, most of the time, because we had to be separate from the boys because obviously we were still working and everything. Yeah. So we had like our own mini bubble kind of thing. And yeah, I'd hurt my thumb in our club footy grand final and didn't have a break or anything, but I kind of didn't train the first couple of weeks doing contact. So I didn't play the first game. I probably wouldn't have got picked anyway, but they were kind of like, oh, we're not going to play you. You know, you haven't trained properly, blah, blah, blah.
Well, you've got the bickies, 18-4 against St George.
Yeah, so they won that game. Next game, I didn't get picked again. They won that game. And then the week of...
see the trend.
Yeah. The week of the Warriors game, he rang me and the coach was like, oh, we're not playing you this week, but you're definitely playing next week, like, no matter how we go sort of thing. And then, because we'd won those two, we were in the grand final anyway. Yeah. And so were Brisbane. So it was kind of, that third game was like a dead rubber.
Yeah, right. It's like a grand final warm-up.
Yeah, pretty well.
Practice go.
And yeah, I was named at 7. I think Corb's at 6. So
is this leading into the grand final?
No, into that third game.
Yep.
And Bobby did her ACL. That's when she did her ACL.
Did she do that before that game or the game before the grand final?
No, that one. So she hadn't played either, and it was her first game. So she was my centre. So we were both like pumped. And I remember I just switched her under at training. She blew her ACL. To this day, she will say it's my fault, even though she called the switch. But I'm like, Bobby, you're gonna come back bigger and better.
Spread it. Howie did it. Yeah. Spread 100%.
It. I did Bobby's ACL. But yeah, so she went down, and then we didn't really have any centres to put in. Because Charlotte Caslick had broken her back. Someone else got injured.
Sorry, just to quickly digress, what was it like playing with her?
Oh, freak. I was talking to someone about this the other day. Just the way she moves, like...
What about like her training, her preparation, like everything like that? Is she...
I didn't see heaps of that because we just rock up and train and kind of leave. But yeah,
she just looks elite.
Her at training, she was training in the halves, and it was so weird because I was like helping her because she hasn't played league before, and I was like, "What the heck? This is like Charlotte."
I was mad that they gave them that sort of like leave to go and
so cool,
do that.
Yeah, and then breaks her back. Luckily, wow. But she would like skip across. And, like, as a half, you try and get to, like, the 3-man and get your second rower isolated with the halfback or the other half.
Yeah.
But she would just skip and, like, beat everyone. And then the second rower was, like, can't adjust to,
time.
So if you can skip outside, like, your second rower's got to skip outside and go with you kind of thing. But no one could react to keep up with her.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, like, looked like she was stuffing up, but... It wasn't her. Like, she's just so good. Yeah. And I was like, it's just so cool to watch.
Are you still friends with her?
I don't ever talk to her, nah.
Oh,
Would
damn,
never have called her my friends. Yeah. Like, just got to train with her.
Damn, can you put in a good word for these guys?
But she ended up playing, like, fullback, wasn't she, for you?
Yeah. So, Bo did her hamstring in the first game.
Who's the S&C coach? He all seem to be going down.
Yeah, people dropping like flies. But yeah, and then, so Bobby went down. And then they moved, because Corbs used to play centres, so they ended up moving her to the centres and Z to play in the halves with me.
Yep.
Anyways, we lost. I scored a try in that game actually as well.
Well done.
Work. Congratulations.
Yeah, and then I was kind of like, I didn't know if I was
Were you
going
a kicker?
Nah, Z kicked. I was meant to kick, but because Z was going to have the week off, but Bobby went down, lots of shifts, and then she
Shambles
played, so I didn't
everywhere.
have to goal kick. Yeah, I was pretty happy not to kick.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was like, the week after, I was like, oh, not really sure if I'm playing in the grand final because no one had said anything, and I was like, oh, if Bo's back, which we thought she would be, and I was like, whoever, I think Shanice must have played fullback for her that game. Anyways, shifts of people everywhere, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm playing.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday's like it's like Teamless Tuesday. So we rock up to training.
Which
like,
was my birthday.
The
Is
grand
it?
final?
Yeah, the grand final was my birthday.
Oh, sorry I couldn't get you the W for your birthday.
That's all right.
Yeah.
There you are. 5'8".
Number 6, yeah. So I rock up to training.
Melanie Howard. I just like... Sorry,
Melanie.
I would never call you Melanie.
No, I only get it when I'm in trouble. Yeah, rock up to training Tuesday. It must have been before 4 o'clock, which is like when the team list comes out or whatever. And I was just cruising around, and our assistant coach came up to me and he was like, oh, we're going to swap you from the left side to the right side this week. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, wait, am I playing? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, thanks for telling me. Like, as though like I knew that I was playing or something. So heaps weird way to find out. But yeah, it was heaps different because of all the COVID stuff. I feel like we couldn't do all the like media stuff, and I don't know, I think
This was a downer, a whole downer.
yeah.
Of a year.
But yeah, there was heaps of media at training, and I was suddenly getting interviewed by everyone, and I was like, hi, like,
Yeah, right.
because I
That's
hadn't
pretty
even played until the week before, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
How'd you go with all the media stuff? Like, do you get nervous? Do you know what? Are you trained on what you're meant to be saying and stuff?
Not really, no.
I'd fuck up somehow. I'd swear
Oh.
by accident.
Yeah, I haven't had to do it a lot, but you just get thrown in the deep end over time. Origin actually in camp was cooked. Like, I had to do so much media stuff, and it was just so exhausting. It sounds so stupid, but like one day I talked to like 3 people, and I was like, this is really hard. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how the boys do it all the time.
At the same time, they are given the training and like they're given like that. Whereas like
we talk to each other for 45 minutes and go, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
it's it actually is exhausting.
Talking
like,
is a
Yeah, and then you kind of
uses
think what you can and can't
it
say.
uses
as
a
well.
lot of energy.
and then as soon as you finish, I feel like you're like, I wish I like
Yeah.
why did I say what I just said? Like, I feel like when I get asked questions, like obviously not the same, but like literally we've had to do a couple news
You've
interviews
done
for the
heaps,
wildfires,
yeah.
and they'll ask me something, and I'm like, I feel like I'm just making things up when I speak.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say it, and then I hear it back. I'm like, why did I? Like, I don't even. That wasn't even true.
Yeah.
Like,
So what year were you in Origin? And
that's that year, isn't it?
Last year, 2020, yeah.
And so how did you get the call up for that? Like, who was the coach? What happened there?
So from the grand final, so I think they wanted to play me in the third game as like a trial for the Origin team because I was kind of in the mix.
Right.
Sort of probably me and Maddie Studden as the 7s. And in the grand final, I hurt my hand with like 2 minutes to go. So they thought I'd broke my hand.
Yeah.
And they kind of pulled. I had to come off because I couldn't. My hand went like numb after a tackle. I don't know what the heck happened. I think that was Amber Hall running at me. Cheers. But yeah, so I came off and I was like, the doc looked at it and was like, oh, I think you broke your hand. I was like, mad, because I knew like Origin was kind of in the frame.
Yeah.
And my assistant coach just came up to me and was like, he was like, oh, I'm Devo for you, like, not for this, but for Origin. And I was like, oh man, I was like, I've cooked it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, thought I just shot myself in the foot with 2 minutes to go in a grand final that we'd lost anyway. Yeah, so it's a bit weird. And then,
but that whole experience playing for your state, like that would have been mad.
yeah, it's definitely probably the coolest thing I've done.
I know, like I understand you lost, and I
But
can
so
see that you got one from 4
Did you-
conversions as well.
But did you
I only kicked one.
Oh,
did you
you still got it.
Obviously, was it actually obviously not broken, or it was?
You
I
were
did
getting
you
around
obviously-
with something on your hand for a while there.
So after the game, we obviously went and celebrated and stuff, and I had to go get an X-ray in the morning because they obviously wanted to know if I could play or not. No one had told me I was actually in the team, but they were like, go get an X-ray. Yeah. And I was like, well, I obviously am if my hand's not cooked kind of thing. So they patted like my hand up for the after game celebrations, and I remember I was just walking around hitting shit because I was like, I've fucked my chances, like, and I was just being the biggest dickhead. And I got an X-ray and nothing showed up, so they were like,
good,
sweet. Yeah, I was in the taxi back to the hotel after my X-ray, and the Origin physio rang me, and he was like, oh, what is it? I was like, I think it's my hand. He was like, cool, nothing showed up, but if there is a break, we just treat it like a boxer's break. And I was like, cool. And, like, he hadn't said I'm in the team still, but obviously I was. And then, yeah, eventually, like, we did, like, our silly Sunday or whatever went out on a boat. And it wasn't until I got home that night the Origin coach rang me and was, like, officially told me I was in the team.
How good. And who was the coach at the time?
Andy Patmore.
Yep. And what was he like as a coach?
Good. Very, smart. You kind of see a difference when you go a bit higher. I feel like the coaches are really calm, and just the way they understand the game, obviously, is a little bit different to lower levels. Yeah. So you kind of take a lot from that.
Yeah.
And I guess like they talk about with the men's, like an Origin coach is kind of more like, obviously they know the game really well, but they're kind of there just to like get everyone together and like get
and
things
it's already
gelling.
The best
like it's
of
not,
the best.
Yeah, it's not really about like teaching. Like everyone knows how to play footy at that level, and like there's not enough weeks to really get everyone like. It's
this
just sort
is
of
the best of the best. Let's get them to gel and win it essentially. So talk us through the game.
But you had camp first, Origin camp?
Yeah, so
how long did that go for?
We had to have a 2-week camp because of COVID. So because we were playing in Queensland, we were in like isolation, quarantine, whatever, in like this resort on the Sunshine Coast. So we had like fenced off areas like for us, and then there was like people at the resort obviously just on holidays, and it was all like separate, and Queensland were in the same place, so we would like walk to our separate halls that were next to each other, walk past like Ali Brigginshaw.
Was it the same resort that the Storm stayed at for their season?
Yeah. So I think it was maybe all blocked off for them already, and they finished and we jumped in or whatever. Cool. So it was heaps weird camp.
How often were you training in the camp kind of thing?
Most days.
Yep.
Yeah, so we would have sometimes maybe a couple of like morning and arvo sessions, a few like random rest days. First week was pretty hectic and it went forever, and then the second week was like a bit more cruisy and more like team runs and stuff like that.
Yep.
Could you do any media stuff?
Yeah, just heaps of like Skype stuff and like phone calls. Stuff like that. But no media people were like allowed. Like we had our New South Wales media chick, and she just would
come in, in and
do
out.
everything. She was like properly in camp with us, but she'd be like, "Oh, Mel, can you do this later?" And we'd just go sit outside and with the laptop and do like a Skype thing or whatever.
God, 2020 was just such a fucking
weird year, eh? So weird.
I mean, it's still good that you've like got the were able to still play and everything.
So good
with
that they
going
still
on.
were able to do it.
Quickly talk us through the game now. You've obviously played it in Queensland, Sunshine Coast.
I think I watched this at Sky Lovett's house actually.
Oh, really?
Actually, no, maybe it was at home. Maybe that was the year before. I don't know.
I
remember watching it.
I cannot remember whereabouts I was.
I don't know. Well, I do because I was like, oh, how exciting! Like I was like, someone from Newcastle.
It was heaps. Like I said, probably one of the coolest things I've done. And it wasn't like a huge stadium, and it wasn't even allowed to be that full, I think.
I was about to say, what was the capacity for it at this stage?
Couldn't even tell you.
Because by November, everything had... Was this November? Yeah. Everything had sort of simmered down a bit.
Yeah. I think it was like the stadium couldn't be filled 100%. There's like a hill, like... I guess kind of like at nights, how they have the hill, and they'd set up like chairs all over the hill when we went for like the captain's run the day before, and so it was like all set up like it'd be like 4 seats and then like some space and like 2 seats, so it was kind of social distance a little bit, but also it was kind of packed as well. yeah, I remember running out to warm up and I was like, this is so cool. And I just had the biggest smile on my face. And I feel like a game like that, you would be nervous, but I was just like so excited. And I was
That's good. That's mad energy.
Yeah, and I was just like,
that's good energy to channel into a big game like that as well.
And I wasn't like stressed about the game. Like I was so calm, and I just was like, my family were like sitting behind me in the warm up, and I was like, this is so sick. Like my dad was obviously so proud, and I just remember watching Origin with him as a kid, and I was like, holy shit, this is where I am.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah. And
it's a shame you didn't get to have that experience of like the full crowd, because that would have been really cool. But obviously it still would have been like a fair, like lots of people there.
Yeah.
And like you would have known that like fucking heaps of people were at home watching and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm just not sure where I was. Peter also can't confirm. I was probably at work, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. So many messages in the lead up. People at home. Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, I remember, I think I cooked like my first kick of the game. Went to put up a torpy because there's like a weird wind, like to get used to at training with kicking, and it was obviously blowing a gale a little bit when we played, as it always does.
Beauty.
Yeah. So I cooked my first kick, come off the side of the boot, and luckily they dropped it. And so we got the ball back. I was like, all right.
I meant that.
Yeah. But yeah. And the first half, I just remember I felt calm and, like, I wasn't like, fuck, I've got to set up 4 tries or anything like that. Like, I was just doing my job sort of thing.
Well, you just went into the halftime break. It would have been even.
Yeah, I think it was it 6-all?
6-all at halftime.
Yeah, so I'd put a kick through for Kezi and she scored, and that was, like, sick. But then I had to kick the goal. And the crowd was so loud, and was
it predominantly Queensland supporters?
And was it like booze, or was it
Oh, how did you handle that?
It was cooked. And it was like to the side, like very like so like you'd get it every day of the week, but there was a bit of wind, and then I was just like, don't cook this. Like, imagine if you miss. Yeah. Like, the crowd will give you mouthfuls. Yeah. Which they were already doing.
I could not even imagine that. Like,
but the day before at the captain's run, my whole team was standing around, like most of the team, and just talking shit while I was goal kicking.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I was cooking them, though, at training. And I was like, don't fuck it up. But yeah, so I kicked the goal, thankfully.
That's good.
But yeah.
Yes, we can see that.
At half time, I was like, we're on top. Like, we got this. And then I don't know what happened in the second half. They just
roll on.
Yeah.
Well, they must have got a good rev up speech at halftime.
I think so.
Well, you've both got 4 tries apiece. It's just
Yeah. So they swapped me. They took me off with maybe 10 to go.
Yep.
Which we'd done in training through the week. Because I'm obviously not someone who's going to step 4 players and run 60 and score. Like,
why not?
I'm not that good. They're like, I'm just not that type of player. So they swapped to Bo at 7 and Tiana at fullback, just for like, I guess, a bit of attacking flair. And as soon as I went off, I swear we just got the ball more than we had the whole game. Like, Queensland were like dropping it, and like I was like,
putting yourself down so much during this podcast. Like, no,
it's always
it seems that way, but look,
it's always
it was obviously just Queensland night.
Yeah, it was.
They look. I'm just scrolling through their team list there, and they have a fucking incredible team.
If you're putting the best halfback in Australia at lock, so you can play 2 like younger halves, I feel like you're doing something right.
She's like the face, Ali, of like
goat.
She's like the I think we discussed that with Bobby as well. Like, she's the face of friggin' women's rugby league. Which podcast?
I was obviously heaps devo. We lost and I'd been taken off and whatever. But after the game, she came up to me, and she was like, "Oh, it's so good to like see you here, like playing finally." She's like, keep going kind of thing. Like, you're doing great. Ali Brigginshaw said that to me.
Oh my
God.
I was like, I got goosebumps. Man.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow. Because I was like, fuck, I just cooked the game. Like, obviously, you finish and you lose and you think you've just had a shit game. But she came up and,
wow, that would have been mad.
Yeah, that's really good. That would have been very encouraging.
And then in her, like, speech, she was like, pointed out, she was like, oh, the New South Wales, the young halves. I was like, oh, young, okay. But But like, yeah, sort of gave Corbs and I a rap in her speech as well. So I was like, oh, that was a cute little
that's really
pump
nice.
up. So that was nice.
She seems very professional as well when she talks, especially from like what I've heard and whatnot. But she's mad, and that's mad that she gave you that little rap as well. And
sick.
even though you didn't get the win, and it's a bit bittersweet getting to play for your state and losing.
Still, like it's just a cool thing to be there.
Fucking oath.
Oh yeah,
that's such an awesome experience to be able to sit down here and talk to like us about it. Like I'm never going to play State of Origin. I'm going to probably
for anyone, just be like you're on like literal, just like like live television, like
being interviewed by
being
interviewed by reporters and
you
get all the kit that
Very
comes
cool.
with it as well.
So you're not playing this year. What's your plans for this year? You're working as a teacher at the moment as well? So.
Yeah. I've played a little, but not. So I cooked my shoulder.
Yeah. I was actually there that day.
Were you?
Yeah, out at Gateshead.
Yep.
Yeah, I've literally, I was like, you had the ball and you like stepped this one girl, stepped another girl, and you finally decided to straighten. I was straight into Piper Duck. It was like,
didn't you just say like...
plays for the Wallaroos, she's like a ginormous
But didn't you just say 5 minutes ago, I'm not the type to step for people and run the ball?
Yeah, like...
But she like straightened up straight into Piper Duck, and Piper's like a ginormous human.
Sorry, is this playing Union?
Yeah,
she swung the boomerang, she's back.
Well, because going back to, you know how I got the x-rays before rugby?
Yeah.
Origin. Turns out so like a month later, my hand was still sore, and they sent me for an MRI. Turns out I'd tore the ligament in my thumb and ripped the bone.
Right.
So whether that was like not fully cooked, like
well, that's not really going to show up in an X-ray.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You need an MRI or a CT or something for that.
I obviously played Origin with that or made it worse. So then I had a cast on for like over Christmas.
That's what I mean. I remember you having a cast.
I saw you training.
And then I was like, didn't want to. I think I played one trial for league, but I just hadn't had much like contact and like game match fitness kind of thing. So I just went and played some sevens, but it lasted 3 minutes, I reckon. And it's so funny because
3 minutes into a 7 minute half.
And I'm like not the person who would take a run like that. Do you know what I mean? But I just remember I got the ball off the ruck and I was like, oh, no one's pulled back. So I just kind of skipped across field. I wouldn't say I stepped for people. I skipped across. And then I was probably like tired, and obviously Piper Duck was in front of me. But she just grabbed me and reefed me. But I just thought, I don't know if you've ever...
It's Karma from 2000.
Oh, yeah. She's like, I'm getting you back for Ash.
I told her to do
Ash
it.
G'd her up before
I said, spread this, do it to her.
Into her DMs, get Howie. I don't know if you've ever done an AC, but like a low grade, which is like...
Touch wood.
Yeah, nothing really is wrong with it. You just can't have a couple of weeks off. A low grade is really painful for like 3 days, and then it really it eases off a lot.
Yep.
So I was like, got an X-ray, and they were like, oh, maybe blah blah. They sent me for an MRI, but after like 4 or 5 days, it was so sore still, and I was like, oh, I think I've actually done something here, because I just thought it was like a low grade one.
Yeah.
And was just cruising. But I trashed my shoulder.
Beauty.
Yeah, physio rang and was like, you've done a heaps good job. So there's like 4 ligaments in your shoulder. I ruptured 3 of them. So I completely tore. And then there was like one hanging on.
For dear life.
Yeah, pretty well.
It's like, I'm not going with you guys.
And that
I don't care. Oh, no, I'm not down there.
But that one saved me from getting surgery because...
that's so good.
So, and then...
Is that because essentially like that it will hold it where the other ones can kind of reattach? They're not fully like...
So my shoulder is like scar tissue.
Yeah.
Because they can't like fully reconnect properly.
Question, if that one was to say snap...
Yeah.
To reattach them, is it similar to like an ACL? Would they have to get a graft from somewhere, or can they just pull them all back together?
I think they can just pull them together. I don't know.
I don't know if you know much about syndesmosis. That it's a similar...
I may possibly be getting familiar with that.
Good.
In the next 24 hours. But you go on.
Syndesmosis, they kind of tie the whatever and pull it. It's, I don't know, they tie it and like pull your bones back to where they should be or whatever.
Okay.
So an AC would be similar. You have to like pull your collarbone down.
This is so gross.
Yeah, but so thankfully, I didn't have to do that. I saw a surgeon, but so my shoulder's just like scar tissue, and your AC doesn't have a lot of movement anyway.
How's your shoulder now?
It's still
percentage-wise. What do you reckon?
Like I'm good to go.
I did see you on the team list and on the bench for Hamilton Hawks on the
I
weekend.
had a little run.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, it was fun. I played a bit of fullback in 12.
Wait, who were you versing? It wasn't us.
They beat them like 69-0 or something.
I wasn't playing. That's why.
They missed their two superstars.
Fuck the two girls that throw intercepts.
I haven't thrown any intercepts for the Greens this year, just the Wildfires.
Yeah, well, I have.
But yes, I'm good to go.
What's the plan? You're gonna finish out the season of rugby union, or
No, I'm just cruising really.
Are you hoping to get a contract for NRLW, or?
Yeah, but I'd say it's unlikely. I think they probably start training soon.
I guess it's a bit hard with all the injuries and things. Like, it's pretty hard to kind of.
It's and I think a lot of the coaches are pretty new, so whether they kind of watched all of last year's sort of games. And
it's hard when you haven't been able to play to sort of like show yourself if they're all new. Like they've got you're just like hoping that they're like looking at your old form.
Well, that's why I wanted to quickly touch on. Well, obviously, we may put a line in this season, but for 2022, we wanted to know, even though this is starting this year, what are your thoughts on the inclusion of the new 3 teams for the NRLW?
I think it'll be good.
Yep.
I think it has. Yeah, it can be really good, but it's a little bit interesting how they've done it. I don't know if you know, like the top 30, each team has to have like 4 of those players or something.
Yeah,
so
right.
So I think the AFL do that.
Yeah, like a draft.
Yeah. So
sort of make it.
So everyone has to have like a certain amount of marquee players. Kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think like the Kiwi girls are included, and like probably most of like the Origin players would be in it as well.
Yep.
So I like that, but they've gone from 22 players to 24, but like the point system, there's less points for each team. So, and then the girls who played Origin this year, they're not worth points. Like that Origin doesn't count, whereas because I played
the asterisk Origin, so that doesn't count.
Yeah. No. The ones she means the ones that just played.
The one that
just played. Sorry. Yeah.
Which is obviously this season, right? But I played last year, so I'm worth 9 points.
So you're like more expensive to have on a team, which sucks. But the girls that
then like Jess Burgess or something.
But the ones that play current Origin don't.
Yeah. So like Maddie Studden played.
Why though?
I don't know. So she played this year, but not last year. So she'd be worth like. So she.
Well, their points go on to the next 2022 season.
I assume so. I don't know.
We don't know.
They're just like,
So I think
these numbers seem to be like it's too early to be crunching these numbers.
Yeah, it'd be hard for teams to like have like a good mix of experience and new chicks, and then if you've got coaches who haven't watched enough, like it'll just be interesting how it all comes together. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure it'll be great, and they'll find lots of new talent, but it's something that could go to shit.
Yeah,
if it's not done sort of properly.
Another question I quickly wanted to ask you in regards to this. So, what was it? You play 4 games and then a grand final, or 3 games and a grand final?
3 and then a grand final. Yeah.
So it's obviously been increased to what did we say it was? 6 this year?
6 teams, yeah. So must be.
So
5
6
games.
teams and 5 games in a grand final.
I think so.
So do you agree with the length of the competition, or would you like to see it extended? Like how the men do it, because again, you're working full time.
Yeah.
This was our discussion with Bobby.
Yeah.
We would love, as consumers of the game, we would love to see the women ripping and tearing every week.
Like longer, but yeah. Like it's also hard.
But you guys have to train 3 times a week. And obviously you've been training in Sydney, same as what Bobby was doing.
Yeah.
Train 3 times a week, still keep up a full-time job, whether you got kids, a family to run. Sorry, that was me then. So what are your thoughts on lengthening the season, or are you happy with to keep it as it is?
I think the way they've done it is good. I think last year they were going to do the 4 teams but do 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But they ended up, because of COVID, they kept it to 1 round.
Yeah.
It's so hard to just roll in, have a quick pre-season, have 3 games.
I know, because you
like
don't get long.
Oh, you don't get, there's just not enough time. But I think, obviously, with the money and, girls working full time, it's the same argument with the Origin. Like, we play 1, not 3. Like, financially, we can't do that.
Yeah, like you had a 2-week Origin camp. Like, and you would not have been you're at that every single day, especially when you played, you're in a bubble, like that you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like.
And like with my job, I got 5 days of like special leave, and we had to, like the Teachers Federation, whatever union, they had to add rugby league to the list because it wasn't like seen as a sport. Because obviously the men, if you're playing rugby league in the NRL, you're not working as a teacher.
Exactly.
But I was like, well, I play in the NRL.
I'm playing a professional sport.
Yeah, so they like added that.
Well, that's good.
That's lucky.
That they've added it.
But of the 2 weeks, I got the 5 days and then had to have like a week without pay.
See, that's the shit that pisses me off.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's not like the money that you're getting for Origin most of the time is not really like
worth
not
it.
Like so much.
That and don't get me wrong. Obviously, like I personally, I'd play for free.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not at all why anyone does it, but it's just so like life is so difficult. And like even that first year when I was playing Dragons, I was working in Singleton like 2 or 3 days a week, getting home from Wollongong at like 11 p.m, like driving 18 hours a week. Like,
oh my God, that sounds horrible.
I lost so much money that year. Like, it was cooked.
That's what I mean. And it's like you go
would they give you an allowance?
You go to uni for all these years.
Not that year.
And you're like, to be a teacher, to like set yourself up to be in like a good financial position, like teacher's a good job. Yeah. And then it's like you're like losing money because you like want to pursue something that you love.
Chasing something like that. Yeah. I think this year the pay has gone up from what I've heard, especially for like those top 30 players. But I think it'll just be like a slow progression. And you see people like, I think Queensland, the girls there was talk of them getting the same as the boys
Origin
for a match. So I don't know if that happened or not.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what we were talking about. They said that they were going to get the same Origin payments for their one game as like the men would for a match.
Is insane. And I saw so many like negative comments like, oh, they're not good enough. Like this isn't their full-time job. I was like, something's got to give. Yeah. Like if you want us
there are so many sacrifices that our women athletes are making. Just to put on a show, like it's a show.
Like, obviously the men's is like that little bit higher quality, but they are training every single day for it. Like that's always going to be the case. Like when you look at like 90s rugby league, like the professional men, I feel like women are just as like easily on par with them, and everyone loved that at the time.
They were full time, but then they were getting match payments as well.
But like everyone loved that that footy, and I feel like women probably even like higher up than that. But like it's a similar brand because that's probably at the level like I don't know, like because women's has only just started to get to that professional stage. Yeah, I feel like it's at the same thing, but like people just can't like see that. Like I don't know, like why could they enjoy the men's footy when it was like less professional? Yeah. But like they can't just
people are just marges, and you're gonna have to deal with that forever. But unfortunately,
it's just like, and it's not gonna get to the point unless they do give and like start to like, reward the women with better payments.
And if the Queensland players did get that payment, that's fucking awesome. And Gladys needs to jump on board. And we need to get on board.
And they won the Origin, like so obviously,
why not be rewarded with?
But like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, the extra payments, it's probably more motivating as well. Like, and they've come through and they're like, "Fuck, people really care about us playing." Like, I don't know, and like, I don't know. I just feel like if more money, it upsets me. I'm just like, these girls are playing such good footy and they're sacrificing so much, and they just like aren't getting.
Yeah, it is the quality of the football that you guys have been playing is like when we watched. I had to rewatch it. I was at work. I seem to be at work every time Origin's on, but I rewatched the women's game, and it is like such quality football. Watching these top tier athletes go at it, like I am ripping and a tearing, ready for the Olympics. I cannot wait to watch the rugby sevens. Like I am so excited. Like I love seeing female athletes just go out and do it, and it's just one thing that we just want. We just want equality.
I love the passion. Yeah. I love that other people appreciate it because,
well, we've got mates in it, and like now, like it's not only just because, like we've got mates now that are playing in the NRLW. We've got mates in the Super W. We feel sorry for them, but as a whole. Like it does something's got to give.
Yeah, that's like this is like probably like when you were saying the comments about like everyone being like, why are the women getting paid? Like one, like why does it concern these people? Like you're like, who gives a fuck? It's not your money. Like
fuck are you?
Like they're not asking you to pay the women that much. Like they're just going to give them that much. Like it doesn't affect you at all.
It's not coming out of your pocket.
Yeah. Like shut up.
Shut up, you Marge.
And then like when they put up a thing, I think it was like the NRL roast, like put up a thing. Of like a tweet being like, oh, should it be 1 game or 3 games in terms of like whatever, and it was just all these salty men in the comments being like, I would never watch 3 games. But I'm like, you don't have to. Like, go away.
Don't watch then. Who cares?
Don't watch.
I know they're like, I watched the first one. I'd never watch. I'm like, you've been obviously like it's been going for a few years now. You've probably watched every single year, but like you wouldn't watch 3. Like, go away.
I think it will get there, but slow, very slow.
Hopefully, when they die out, those salty men.
And probably after my time, like all my kids at school, they'll probably be making the money, which is fine because as women, that's
you're
what
building
you do.
you're laying the foundation for the next generation.
Yeah.
And look, you know what? We applaud you for that.
Yeah.
All right. Because we have been dribbling heaps and I've drank so much water, we're going to stop talking footy unless there's anything else that you want to talk about footy. Is there any other exciting footy chats? Because I want to fucking quiz your footy knowledge now.
Oh, it's going to be probably... I have the worst memory, speaking of head knocks. Like, I am
come
horrible.
to the right place.
Yeah.
This should be fun, fresh and CTE.
Yeah. One day it will be.
If I get them all wrong, I'm sorry.
When we're still doing this at 70, it's just going to be like...
Oh, we're getting... welcome back to Fun, Fresh and Footy with Ashen. Wait. Who are you? No, I'm kidding. All right, so you did let me know that your favourite team is the Knights.
Day one, yep.
Old man was a Knight supporter. You can't remember who your mum went for, but we don't care about that. So what we've got 6 Knights trivia questions, and I did tell you to brush up on your Knights trivia.
Yeah, I did, and I was flat out, but we'll see how.
So what we'll do is we'll go through just for a little bit of fun. Because we're all running out of water and my mouth's going dry and my nose won't stop running. It's so fucking cold out here. All right, we'll ask question for question. Don't look at the answers or I'll come over there and I'll drop you on the grass like you did
Here we go,
in 2017. All right, what are the Knights on the table currently? Oh, fuck, I need to remember what the buttons are.
I think I looked this up a couple of days ago. Maybe 9 or 10. Just outside the top 8.
You have to pick one.
Oh, I'll go 10. I can't be sure if we jump to 9 though after. No good?
9.
Damn it!
Oh, you're close.
I must have looked
That's the
win.
right one if she gets it.
If.
Who scored the opening try of the 2001 grand final? Which one's it?
01.
That's the right answer. That's the wrong answer.
Okay.
Probably click wrong now.
Just have a guess.
01.
And you have a time limit as
Oh no,
well.
I feel like it was a forward, but I got nothing.
Just say someone who you think from the 01.
I can't even think of any forwards. I'm so stressed.
It wasn't a
you
forward.
want
It wasn't a forward.
Yeah.
Do you want the initials?
Yeah.
T.
Samana Tahu.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to guess him. Did you do the wrong one?
You almost did the wrong one. I nearly did the wrong one.
Spastic.
Fun fact about that, Penel's been playing for the Northern Hawks, like, the Bay team, my partner, and Tamana Tahu's playing in his team this weekend for NAIDOC week.
That's sick.
And, like, George Rose.
Sorry, I'm doing this on
I
camera
remember
now.
he used to, like, dunk on the crossbar when he scored. There's
when you're driving to Katara along Park Avenue.
Yeah, he's on that big
He's on the big...
Tamana Tahu tackles concussion.
Oh.
Yeah, and his face is all like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact. There you go.
Is he donating his brain to science? You know, a few of them are doing that. Like, Matty Jones or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
100%. Take mine. I've
Take
had a few.
it, like, take everything.
Take
whatever. I always think that. Like, take my organs, take whatever. Like,
yeah, they can have anything in
100%.
mine. I don't know how good it'd be, but...
Yeah.
Actually, we're doing Dry July at the moment. We probably should have touched on that before we started. So maybe our organs are all rejuvenating by now.
For sure.
All right, question 3. What is McDonald Jones's capacity?
Again, I
There's
feel
been
like
a lot of yarns around this lately
I
because of
heard
the
this
origin.
the other day, yeah, and I'm sure I'm going to cook it. I'm just going to guess. I get so confused because the, like, AFL stadiums have massive capacities.
Well, we're not talking
I
AFL.
know, but like, I just am like, I'm just going to say 40,000. I don't know.
Not too far off.
33,000. All right, Petey, over to you.
Wasn't even called that in my day.
Yeah, marathon?
Yeah, marathon. And was it something else before that?
Osgrid, Energy Australia Stadium.
Energy Australia.
Osgrid Stadium. It's been everything.
Who won the Clive Churchill Medal in the 97 grand final?
Was it Joey?
Robbie O'Davis.
Oh, he was the goat too. I love him.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
I told you I'd be rubbish. I got one right.
All right, who has the most caps from the Newcastle Knights, obviously, for State of Origin?
Maybe Danny Medeiros or Joey. I don't know.
Which one? Which one?
Well, you laughed at me, Joey. Wait.
And that doesn't count because I fucking mouthed it to you. All right, last
I felt
one.
like that was I don't know. You should watch his 05 highlights. I watched it the other day. I don't know if
I not long ago watched the 05 whole
Serious?
game on KO.
Yeah.
Because I was bored
I love
and
that.
all.
I did a lot of that in COVID last year, actually.
I
All right,
love
last
KO.
question.
KO sponsor us.
Who was the top try scorer in 2019 for the Knights?
2019.
Yes.
Come on. And then you can figure out the percentage because you're a
The
teacher.
percentage.
Percentage?
No, out of 6.
Oh. I was like, what?
I'll just go I feel like KP probably just scores the most
Yeah, baby.
Well done.
I was trying to think of
Actually,
the
I
wingers
might
back
be able
then.
So you got 1, 2, 3 out of 6. So you got
50%.
50%. So
Good
we've
maths.
That's a pass.
Woohoo!
That's a pass. So yeah, you do kind of know your trivia. You can be better.
I thought,
You can be better.
Well, we've all learnt stuff today.
Look, a couple more things before we wrap this up. This has actually gone for heaps longer than what I thought it would be. I think I told you this would be 30 minutes, but
That's
sorry.
it. I do talk, and when I tell stories, I do some loops. So you
thank
probably
God we
would've
have that on camera
spotted, yeah.
with our new sign. All right, so what's the best advice you've ever been given? Maybe I should have told people to come prepared with these answers.
Possibly. No, that's okay.
Off the top of your head.
Probably I can't give you a direct quote, but my parents, because I always was kind of okay at stuff and not amazing, so it would just kind of miss out on teams. And then in footy, I was just always too small. So my parents couldn't tell you an actual quote, but just, I guess, keep grinding, and at some point someone's going to notice what you're doing, sort of thing.
Just keep swimming. That's what Dory said.
Pretty well, yeah. Probably if I could quote Dory. But unfortunately I can't. But yeah, something along those lines.
So just
from
keep grinding
my
away
parents.
and hopefully
Yeah.
someone will...
So we had this on. So what's one motto you live by? That might be hard because it's you don't know. We wasn't sure with the actual quote. But do you have a motto?
I kind of say often to myself, everything happens for a reason.
Oh, that's mine too.
Yeah,
Do you want to know what mine is?
yes.
Don't let anyone dull your sparkle.
I love that.
Sorry, I know this isn't about me.
No, that's okay. Thank you
But
for sharing.
yeah, everything happens
100%.
for
That's my.
everything
That's
happens
the
for
exact
a
same as
reason.
mine. That's
Yeah, and this year's been rubbish for me because I've just been injured the whole time. But I'm
But it could have been a good thing because it's given your body time to rejuvenate.
It'll sometimes be the most wild reason that seems so non relevant to what's happened, but you're like, oh, I missed out on this, but then eventually I don't know, it just brings up another opportunity or something.
Yeah.
Something else will come along the lines,
Sure.
like what your parents said in the first one.
Right.
All right,
We have a couple questions.
Petey's got her last 5.
What's your favorite place you've travelled to?
through footy or
Just anywhere.
Anywhere, right?
probably Hawaii. I liked Hawaii.
Nice. What is your favourite animal?
Turtle.
Ooh, why?
They're just chill.
Yeah,
And
they
they're just
are.
nothing. I don't know. They just cruise.
What is the worst band or artist you've seen live?
I don't really go to live music.
Really?
I'm weird about really loud noises, and I don't love being surrounded by lots of people.
Has this podcast put you off loud noises even more?
No, this is so fun. But I think I went to Field Day a couple of years ago.
I feel like I've seen you at that once.
Yeah, I did go to this. So that
was
was
actually
okay.
the funnest festival.
That was quite fun. But because it wasn't
back.
I know Field Day in Sydney, it was just way too many people for me.
That was
yeah.
that was shit.
Just
That
was
festival.
okay.
And what is your favourite podcast?
Fun Fresh Footy.
Yeah, thank you so
I
much.
was I'm going to stuff this out.
Sorry, wait, say it again. Say it again.
Fun, Fresh and Footy.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much for jumping on, Howie. You've been
for having
great. And all the best with your future endeavours.
Cheers.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my